Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace. Freedom. And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Through Ali.
Through Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Remain standing. Islam. Those who are able. You can sit down. You want to sit down. Islam.
Islam.
First I give praise to Allah.
First I give praise to Allah,
The great God of the universe.
the great God of the universe.
I give honor to his holy and divine prophet.
I give honor to his holy and divine prophet,
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali,
Founder of the Moorish Science of America.
founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
I give honor to the forerunner to the prophet.
I give honor to the forerunners to the prophet,
Brother Marcus Garvey.
Brother Marcus Garvey.
I give honor to all true and divine prophets.
I give honor to all true and divine prophets,
Jesus.
Jesus,
Muhammad.
Muhammad,
Buddha.
Buddha,
Confucius.
Confucius,
etc.
etc.
I give honor to our past leaders of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to our past leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Brother C. Kirkman Bay.
Brother C. Kirkman Bay,
Brother F. Nelson Bay.
Brother F. Nelson Bay,
And Brother J. Blakely Bay.
and Brother J. Blakely Bay.
I give honor to our former Grand Sheik and moderator of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to our former Grand Sheik and moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Brother R. Love is.
Brother I. Love you.
I give honor to our present Grand Sheik, who is the moderator of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to our present Grand Sheik, who is the moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Brother R. Jones Bay.
Brother R. Jones Bay.
I give honor to the Assistant Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to the Assistant Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Brother P. Chase is.
Brother P. Chase.
I give honor to the Grand National Secretary of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to the Grand National Secretary of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Sister I. Morbay.
Sister Amor Bay.
I give honor to the Financial Secretary of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to the Financial Secretary of the Moorish Science Temple of America,
Sister T. Potter Bay.
Sister T. Potter Bay.
I give honor to all national, state, and local officials of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to all national, state, and local officials of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
I give honor to the Grand Governor of Washington, D.C.
I give honor to the Grand Governor of Washington, D.C.,
Brother H. Harris Bay.
Brother H. Harris Bay,
And to his assistant.
and to his assistant,
Brother T. Gaither.
Brother T. Gaither.
I give honor to all auxiliaries of the Moorish Science of America.
I give honor to all auxiliaries of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
I give honor to the American flag.
I give honor to the American flag,
The Moorish flag.
the Moorish flag,
And to our charter.
and to our charter.
I give honor to everything that the prophet brought
I give honor to everything that the prophet brought
for the uplifting of fallen humanity.
for the uplifting of fallen humanity.
I give honor to man.
I give honor to man.
Peace. Salvation on God unity. The Moorish Science of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to law, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known for the members of the Moorish Science of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man is born in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and sent to his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science of America. No member to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister or any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must observe these holy divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government. Because by being in Moorish America, you are a part and parcel of the government and my live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws of the Constitution of the state government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. First, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of the state government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now claim their three natural names to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabit the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part, any portion of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Scientific of America. Members must pay their dues and keep alive on the necessities of the Moorish Scientific of America. Then you are entitled to a name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children, look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must be father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from the Holy Prophet Noble Ali through the God, Father God, Allah. Noble Ali founder, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day, to his holy prophet, Ali. Amen. The Moorish Scientific of America, Home Office, 2905 5th Street, Southeast Washington, D.C., 20032. Thus far, reading from the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Now I'd like to read from the questionnaire and addition law for the Moorish American by the Prophet Noble Ali. Act 1. Grand Sheiks and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. He said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let it be financed property or any line life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc. that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violate these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restrictions set by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend ADAB meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second he'll be fined $1, which will be an emergency fund. If a member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me and save the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. As has the power invested in my hands, I will have to force the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group that will teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must properly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school. And the teacher must confirm themselves to the questionnaire and let every member exercise 5 senses who they will do so. Because our family Sunday school can guide us of the nation. Act 6. But first, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now claim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a portion of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues to keep alive all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to a name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children, look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans keep their hearts and minds pure with love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from the Holy Prophet Noble Ali through the God's Father, God Allah. Thus I read from the questionnaire and disalong with all 7 acts. Now I'd like to read from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science of America, divine declared by Noble Prophet Noble Ali. I'd like to read from chapter 35, Holy Instruction from the Prophet Religion. There is but one Allah, the author, the creator, governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. The sun is not Allah, though it no resemblance. He lightened the world with his brightness. If one given life to the products of the earth. Admire him as the creature, the instrument of Allah, but worship him not. To the one who is supreme, most wise and beneficent. To him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. Who has stretched forth the heavens with his hands. Who has described with his fingers the courses of the stars. Who setteth bounds to the ocean that it cannot pass, and setteth into the stormy wind to be still. Who shaketh the earth and the nations tremble. Who dare his lightning and the wicked are dismayed. Who called forth world by the words of his mouth. Who smiteth with his arm and sinketh to nothing. O reverence the majestic of the omnipotent, and tempt not his anger, lest thou be destroyed. The providence of Allah above all his works. He ruleth and directeth with infinite wisdom. Peace. Islam. Islam. I'd like to welcome all to our Sunday school here at Temple 71 here in Washington, D.C. As I read and wanted to ask, how from these Sunday school kind of guides of this nation. I pray, Lord, that we have a good Sunday school. We will be instructed by our Grand Sheikh, who is the moderator of the Moorish Science of America, Brother R. John Gray. And if you have anybody downstairs, need to come up. Those who need our literature, water, you can raise your hand up to the accessory. Also, might come up. We can all get the same. Okay, we can all get the same stuff. But everybody feeling well? It's nice in here, warm, cool. Double check your cell phone. Yes, sir.
What we're gonna find out in a moment is, do we have a children's Sunday school instructor? I know that Sister Grand Sheik is not here. She won't be here today. Sister Paulson is downstairs, and we can ask her if she plans to instruct Sunday school and send the children in.
Let our children go down. Children's Sunday school. Everybody else? We got a Sunday school. Just fall here down. Anybody need literature? You can raise your hand. Anybody need literature?
Question.
Keep your hand. Get both of them. Anybody want to?
Yeah.
We had something.
Anybody else need minutes?
So when you ready for the Grand Secret,
Literature,
You sure?
okay, again, we're gonna double check our cell phones, those that just came up. And as soon as everybody gets seated, we're gonna have a moment of silent meditation before I call our grand secret. Islam. Without further ado, I'd like to call forth the Grand Secret, the moderator of the Moorish Science Club, America, of our faith to instruct our service.
Islam. Right. Allah, the Father of the universe,
Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, throughout me. Amen.
Praise Allah. Again, I extend to you the greeting. Islam.
Islam.
Good. That's how you want to, or that's how we want to, that's how we want to what?
Greet each
Greet,
other.
yes. Why is it necessary to greet? Why do you think it makes a difference, your greeting? Why does your greeting make a difference? It says what? It sets the tone. Why is it important to have the proper tone set?
You receive things better.
Yeah, you receive things better. Good. Why is it necessary to receive things in the right way? For our growth and development in what way?
spiritual.
Spiritually. That's right. That's right. Why is it necessary for us to be conscious of our spirituality?
So you can
Yeah, so you can grow. Why? Why do you think it's necessary for us to remember our spirituality?
I would say personally, because spirit man is the truth.
That's no question. And I agree with you wholeheartedly in that, brother.
It's a guidance towards the right direction for us.
It's a guidance toward the right direction for us. That's right, no question. Why else?
Nourishment.
Yes, nourishment.
It help control our actions.
It does assist us in controlling our actions. It does.
And also Allah the spirit.
That's where we want to go.
The connections of Allah.
That's where we want to go. The remembrance of Allah. See, if you can remember you're dealing with a spiritual being, you may be able to remember that you're standing before Allah himself. Because Allah is in man. So each time we are in the company of man, we are in the company of who?
Allah.
Allah. We must remember that. See, sometimes we don't remember that. We just think of the person that's in front of us. We disregard the fact that man is not the body. So who we're standing in front of is just a manifestation of something. we need to think about what is the something that's being manifested in flesh. And what is it?
Love.
It's the thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. We see the thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. Now, what that thought represents is a determining factor of how we are received in the midst of those who are also striving for perfection. We're trying to remember so that we will not be distracted,
That's right.
because when you get caught up in the body, you get caught up in feelings. How I feel about you. That's determined on what type of relationship do we have. Where did the relationship come from? The way it was formed. How did we form that relationship? What did we look at before we entered into it? Who did we see? Did we see the body? Then our relationship is founded on a foundation of shakiness. Because the body's going to change. Now, when the body changes, do I change? If you're not rooted in what? Truth. In your examination about who? The people you meet. When you meet, who are you meeting? Are you meeting the spirit or the body? Come on.
It's not long. Then as you said that, see, me myself, when I deal with another individual,
Yes.
I'm dealing, because I'm dealing, and I'm looking at it from the physical,
Yeah.
and that's all I remember.
Yes.
Like you said, I got to remember the
Yes.
spirit,
Yes.
and you got to be able to like change over, or
You do.
switch over
You do.
from spiritual, from physical to spiritual,
You do.
when you're dealing with a person.
You do. Especially men when they deal with sisters. Because sometimes the body attracts. And once the body does, if the body is the influence, then the mind goes to the body, disregarding the spirit. And there have been many relationships based on body attraction. And then when we get in the illusion of the body, we can get caught up in it. People stay in very shaky relationships because they caught up in the body. And we already know that the body can't what? So now we're in cahoots with an unthinking thing based on the way we see it. Of course it does. That's why you must, in dealing in relationships, examine with care and fix not suddenly. On thy present choice depends your future happiness. Come on.
It's not, sir. But from a carnal point of view, when a man and woman engage, the physical is the first thing that attracts us
Yes.
before you even want to get to know the person,
Yes.
mentally or
Yes.
spiritually,
Yes.
emotionally. If it's not a physical attraction
Yes.
there, then you may just speak and keep it moving.
Yes. Yes. But
if
see.
the sister or the brother attracts you physically,
Yes.
then
Yes.
you may engage a little more to get to know that person more.
Yes. Yes. Remember.
From a calm.
And that's the truth. But see, we must always keep this in mind. Our objective in dealing with each other is that we need to remember the relationship that what?
Binds us together.
That's what we must remember. But if you get caught up in the body, it's not the relationship that binds us to love and unity. It's not always what pulls us together. It is the allurement of imagination. Brother.
Islam
Yes.
is form and body different because it says in the duty of a husband
Right.
about the form that's
Right.
agreeable to
Fancy. Right. Yo, form of the body is the same. A body is a shape or mold. It's no different.
Yeah.
But when you make your decision based on that first,
Okay, I got you.
you miss the boat because you leave no room for nothing else. That's why he lets you know. Examine with care. Fix not suddenly.
That's right.
Just, oh man, she bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. You want to examine with care.
That's right.
Because what are you looking for when you examine with care?
Man's most
Innocence of man.
Say it, Mo.
Innocence of man.
That's right. You're looking for what? Sensibility of heart.
Mm-hmm.
Joined with softness of manners. Look what he tell you to look for.
Yeah. Compass mind.
Then with a form agreeable to your fancy. He didn't put the form first.
So all that's part of examination.
That's just what it is. And he gives you the steps.
Mhm.
Exactly.
We're trying to remember to follow the steps.
That's it.
But it's not always an easy thing to do when we're in the world of illusion. And the body is pushed on us like it is. We need to make sure that we remember what we said first. Spirit. That's a part of seeking ye first the kingdom of heaven. My brother.
And I just wanted to add, when you said about remember the spirit,
Yes.
there's a strong connection there because the body ain't nothing but spirit moving at the slowest rate.
Well, it's not the spirit moving because that would indicate that the spirit takes on a change. And the spirit is when it vibrates, it's not so much changing in that sense of the word, because remember, the thoughts of Allah, man is the thought of Allah, he's the spirit and a part of Allah, they change not.
There's
They are what they are. But it's an element there.
but what I was saying, and I agree with you, what you're saying right there. Only thing I was saying, when you say this other word, so maybe I'm saying the wrong word.
Okay.
It's the essence.
Okay.
Although the body can't think of reasons.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's the spirit
Right.
that brought about the soul plane. You know, when the ether started to vibrate sluggish, and then those same ethers, you see what I'm saying, began to vibrate slower still, and man took on the found God of flesh.
Right. But you
So
know,
my whole thing is that
right.
spirit is the essence and that sustains everything. That's all basically saying, which is a lot.
But, again, if we say it like that, we're saying the spirit changes. It's not the spirit that changes, it is degree of its developmental thought pattern that changes, which creates the condition known as the manifested state. The spirit, it is what it is. It can't be anything other than that. But the spirit has degrees of thought. Each degree of thought of the spirit creates a condition. One of the conditions was the plane of soul. That's a condition where the spirit entered into. It didn't change, even though it became a living soul. It was still the spirit. And when it extended itself again, extending itself where? Into the murky ethers of the flesh. The spirit didn't change, but a degree of the thought changed that it caused a manifested state.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I agree with you wholeheartedly right here.
And that's why, see, the spirit remains even in the bosom of the fool where the soul is. It's perfect, so you know the spirit is perfect. But the spirit has to do what? Unfold. The spirit has to unfold. And how does the spirit unfold? Trials. How does the spirit gain perfection?
The things he's suffering.
Huh?
Things that he's suffering.
Yes, no question. But also passing through all the ways of life.
Experiences.
Yeah, the experiences that are gathered as you pass through the ways of life.
So the spirit is passing through the physical?
Yes, he is.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, okay. Well, if that's what you're saying, I'll agree with that.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, okay. But it is passing through the ways of life, gaining experiences. And your experiences are interpreted by way of your what? Actions. That's good. What particular actions in this case? The actions of what? Yes, or the actions of thinking. We're passing through. We're thinking about what we are encountering, what we're doing, while we're thinking. See, because there comes a time when you stop thinking and you start participating in things that lack reason. And then you experience unjustness because nothing can be just that proceedeth not from reason. Sometimes we get so caught up in the body, we seek to gratify the body. Meaning, we seek to chase after the feelings that we got, not using the reason to keep those feelings in check. But that's how man is going. That's what we experience going through this way of life. Yes.
So that means we're not constantly self-examining our thinking.
We neglect ourselves.
We get to
Sure.
understand that this is an ongoing thing
Sure.
that we need to check.
Sure.
We get comfortable.
Sure. Well, just think about it. If you're born into the situation not knowing that this is your pursuit, and you start to take on those things that you're taught from the time you come on earth again. I mean, you come on earth, you don't always recall right away what you learned the last time you were here. That comes by way of a series of events that you must experience to trigger that which is within you to let you know you've been here before. But you see, it has to be done in a conflict to remind you that, wait a minute, I remember this. I've done this, I've seen this, I know you. But something has to trigger that. See, you can be so in the dark that you don't even respond to certain stimulation that comes from the spirit. Your spirit is dormant. Because of our actions and our activities, we've done things to push it or to make it submerge. It's there, but it's like dormant, yes. Because of our actions and the things we're doing, our practices.
Well, is that an action in the soul?
That is yes.
Yeah, when you say.
The actions, yes, yes. See, that's why the soul separates. It can separate itself, not true separation, but it can separate itself from the spirit that dwells within it based on the things that it is allowed to do. See, you no longer hear the spirit within the soul when the actions of the soul now are descriptive of those who seek to gratify their lower self. In your attempt to gratify your lower self, the spirit, you no longer hear the spirit. You are being prompted by impulsiveness and disregard for the God that's in you. Because now you are in pursuit of he who sometimes calls himself God. Why? Because he can entertain you with the allurements of imagination, the appearances that come about by way of the reflexes that give you an image. I see an image. I can relate to the image. I see it. But you have lost sight of reality. You dwell within the illusion. The prophet came to bring us out of the illusion into the real.
That's right.
By taking us from out the body, out of the grasp of the body. And you don't do that overnight. You must learn how to come out of the body. Because the body has great influence on the soul. That's why you must reacquaint yourself with your soul so that you can gain some control. Because if you don't, she's prone to react to the feelings and impulses that come from without. course, we already know the end of her search is truth. She seeks it. Inquiry is her delight. She's always trying to know something. Now the question is, what's prompting her? What's encouraging her? What is pushing her forward?
Flesh.
My brother. The flesh. That's right. So her actions now are all geared towards accumulating what information she can about the flesh. How low can you go? That's a peace. That's what we're trying to gain control. That's why it is necessary for us to remember spirituality. Remember spirituality. Fix that in your mind. Watch the things that try to get you to only be concerned with those things that you see with your physical eyes. Go beyond the physical appearance and ask yourself, what is the meaning of this? Come on.
It's not. I was, just to add on what you were saying, I was looking at that, what you said when the prophet said, because it's important to always know, like you said, who's really in charge.
Yeah.
And the prophet said, it's not the master
Of the house.
more honorable than the wall.
Yes.
So you got to keep at all times, even when you feel as though you're not totally in accord,
Right.
but always reflect
Right.
back
Right.
to what's really governing you.
Right. Right.
And that is the spirit.
Right.
It can explain the life and physical death cycle too.
Right.
That confirms
Right.
to me
What confirms?
that the spirit
Right.
is in charge.
Right.
Because the body passed away.
Right.
I mean, those are the things that I look at
Right.
to see that something else is in charge besides what I see in the flesh.
The question is this: have you examined your what? Yes. And have you examined your desires? So you got to ask yourself, what do I desire? What turns me on? What do I give my attention to? Let me identify what I give my attention to. Is it a being? Is it a person, place, or thing? You ask yourself, what has the most influence over you? Because if you don't know what has the most influence over you, then you can be influenced to do someone else's bidding. That's why you must examine yourself. Where am I at? Where am I for real? Am I talking or am I walking? Or am I talking and walking? See, because if you don't ask yourself these questions, you can be under the illusion that you're doing what? You're walking. You got to ask yourself, what path am I walking on? Where am I going? That's the question. Where am I going? You got it? All right. Who made you? Allah. Who is Allah?
Allah the Father of the universe.
Can we sin?
No.
Where's the nearest place we can meet?
In the heart.
Who is Noble Duali?
He is Allah's prophet.
What is a prophet?
The prophet is the Lord of Allah manifested in the flesh.
Okay, a prophet is the thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. And one thing we know about it being a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh, one thing we know about Prophet Noble Duali, and that is what? Yeah, no question. What else? Come on, what else? What can you say about Prophet Noble Duali? Besides, he's a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. You got to be able to say something, because if you can't say anything, that means you have not given it any thought. He's a pattern. That's a good word. What else can you say beyond a shadow of a doubt about Prophet Noble Duali?
He's a redeemer.
Yes, he is divinely prepared. What you say?
He's a redeemer.
He's a redeemer. No question.
He's the founder of this national.
It's no question.
He's a everyone's prophet.
Yes, he is. But mainly, he will not change. He will always remain the same. Meaning, everything you read about him, you will know whether or not he said it, because what he says does not change. Why does it not change? Because it's the truth. And the truth is ought. Ought is Allah. The prophet is a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. If you acquaint yourself with the instructions by way of your what? Practice, you will know for yourself. No one will have to tell you or try to convince you or try to make you to believe. You will know for yourself. And when you know, you will know faith. Because faith is what you know to be the truth. That's when you'll know faith. But until you do not know, you simply guess, and you can be persuaded to go in the direction where one can make their words in the semblance of truth. Because it can appeal to that part of you that's rejecting the truth. And there is a part of you that's rejecting the truth. It offers you opposition. But the opposition is good. Why? Say it. Stop trembling. They are trembling.
That's where you get the strength.
Hey, look, without a what?
Without a foe,
A soldier what?
never knows his strength.
And thought must what? By what? Come on, man. You got to know. When it comes on you, let me tell you something. When your challenger hits you, it's not going to give you a chance to regroup. Wait a minute, hold up. Wait a minute, hold up. You cannot tell your adversary, hold up, wait a minute. Because your adversary is attempting to entrap you, not give you an advantage. It's trying to get you because you have played yourself out of pocket. You don't have any armor on. So what it does, it throws out the allurement to pull you in. You can't tell the opposition, wait a minute, hold up, let me get myself together. Do you actually think your foe is going to stop? Okay, go ahead and get this up here. Come on. That's why I'm saying you got to know. You got to know what to rely on when you are standing in the midst of your enemy, which is yourself. You got to know how to address it, how to approach it. You got to know what to say. You don't have time to call nobody up on the phone and say, look, what should I say? I'm confronted with this right now. What am I supposed to say? It's not going to wait for you. The only certainty that you have is that you're being the message that you bring. Then you respond properly because you have practice.
That's it.
So it don't matter. However you come, whenever you come, I've been practicing. And I know that I have a pattern of behavior that that causes me to respond to certain things. All I have to do is trust it. Well, I'm going to trust it because by being it, I know it. Yeah.
I was thinking in the question here, we haven't got to it yet, but
Right.
where it speaks about what people represent the Lord.
Yes. Yes.
It says those that will cast out the holy city and those who accept their teaching.
Yes.
And I was thinking, we talking about the teaching of the Lord self.
Yes.
When we accept those teachings
Yes.
of the Lord self.
Yes.
See, in all worlds, two things.
Yes.
Truth
Yes.
and falsehood.
Yes.
So we have to choose.
Yes.
What do we want to go after? What do we accept? What do we pursue?
Yes.
But if we accept the teachings of the Lord self,
Yes.
that illuminates we're all balanced. We always are.
Yeah.
You know, we can struggle, but it's you know, your primary goal is whatever you pursue.
Yeah.
If you're pursuing truth, that's your practice.
Yes.
To pursue the truth.
Yes.
And it keeps you, like you say, armored up.
Yes.
Even in your moments of weakness,
Yes.
you still got to pursue.
Yes.
But if you accept that Lord self,
Yes.
you're just out there.
Yes. Yes. See, what thought pattern do you feed? What thoughts do you feed? I mean, because the thoughts that you feed, quite naturally, they're going to be the stronger.
Yeah.
So what thoughts do you really feed? Don't tell me about the thoughts that you try to get me to believe. What about the thoughts you truly really feed? In other words, what are you really about for real?
Come on.
What are you reading of?
Yeah.
Are you
See, what am I really about for real? Don't tell me what you want me to believe you're about. What are you about for real? What thoughts do you really take to the table, sit down, and you all have a big meal together? What thoughts are you really holding? Holding when you don't think nobody see you. When you get into your little private places and you don't physically, no one is looking at you. The only one there is there. The only one that is there is you. And you're talking to yourself. And when you're in that moment of talking to yourself, all of a sudden certain pictures come across your mind that you're talking about. The question is now, what are you talking about? Because what am I seeing? What am I entertaining? Because whatever I'm giving my attention to, that's what I am becoming. That's what I am. What gets my attention? What behavior patterns attract me? What type of shapes and forms attract me? And what do they project that attracts me? See, all these things have to be asked if you're talking about staying on the path.
Yes.
Because, see, you got to have this battle.
Yeah.
You got to go into the wilderness. And you got to fight with yourself once you determine what it is I'm really about. See, until you do that, you just haplessly just going to and fro. Because you have not established your direction. That's why you come and go, come and go, come and go. Rise and fall, rise and fall, rise. You have not established your direction. You have no fixture in your heart. So you are various and wavering. You're just soon to go there as to go here. Because for real, I haven't established myself on anything. I'm just hanging out. But until you reach that point where you can ask yourself those type of questions, you are not going to make the determination that is required to stay on the path that leads you to where?
Salvation.
Come on.
That's right, Lord.
You're going to find yourself getting in certain situations, getting out of certain situations, scarred, but if you're allowed to get out. Sometimes you get out, you're a little scarred, might lose a hand, might lose an arm, might lose an eye, might lose a foot, a leg. You might lose your life. But all that's dependent upon the choices that you make based on the thoughts that you're holding,
Yes.
that you're entertaining yourself with when you're in the privacy and the moments when you think no one is watching you. That's why he said, he brought us everything that we need to save ourselves. Come on.
Listen up, sir. I want to go back to our adversary.
All right.
And, you only have fractions of seconds to apply the lesson
Right.
of what you have learned, or what you practice.
Right.
What you practice in
Right.
application.
Right.
You only have fractions of seconds
Right.
to apply it
Right.
when dealing with your adversary.
Right. Right. But see, no more, look, when you know them, there is no time. You just respond. You have to respond to what's most common to you, what you're used to doing, what you're used to thinking. That's how you respond. Because those are the thoughts that you hold. So you can only respond to a thought that you're holding. Now, if you're not holding that thought, then, of course, quite naturally, you will respond in a manner that's equivalent to the thought that you're holding. But if you've been practicing and trying to practice doing what I'll often tell you, do what? Hold the thought. That's a daily practice. You have to practice holding the thought. Because it's so easy to let the thought go. There's so many challenges and so many illusions that can cause you to say, wait a minute, I'll do that tomorrow. I ain't going to do it today. Or I can do that later on. See, look, we are famous for putting it off. Look, I'll do it after a while. I'll do it later. But see, you don't understand that when you say, I'll do it later, you're letting something else come in. That's why you must practice holding the thought. If you hold the thought and you have held the thought, you know what the result will be because the thought does not change. Can you imagine walking through the world knowing that if I think a certain way, things are not going to change? I don't have to worry about anything because the thoughts that I'm holding prevent those mishaps because in the providence of Allah, there are no happenings. Law is governing your consequences from what you think. It's in accord with the law. And if you got the law working for you and with you, what can harm you? Anything you set out to do that's to your benefit, you will accomplish. Because you are in accord with the law. The law so says, if you do this, this is the result of doing this. If you do that, this is the result of doing that. The question is, what do you want? What do you want? What is your desire? What do you want? I want a new car. Well, you can get a new car, but there's two ways you can get it. There's two ways you can get that new car. One way is offered to you, but there's entrapment, there's slavery. The other way, you can get it, and it can be to your benefit. What we have to learn to do now is to have what? What is a very necessary commodity? No, patience. It's the patience that's the virtue. Learn to have patience. Learn to obtain your desire by giving it an opportunity to manifest righteously. Then it will benefit you wholeheartedly and you can enjoy it. And don't have to worry about somebody coming around and taking it away from you because you can't pay the bill. You put into motion a series of events. One thought puts in motion a series of events. And if the thought is healthy, those events that's in series come back to you in a healthy way. Yes.
It's fine. I'm sitting here thinking about an incident yesterday.
Yes.
When I was standing in, it's holiday weekend, so
Sure.
the stores are crowded.
Sure.
I'm in line. There's a Latino woman
Sure.
with her two little children in
Sure.
front of me.
Sure.
Then I have an Asiatic sister behind me and another one behind her.
Right.
Children are being children. They
Sure.
running, playing, mother tell them to stop.
Sure.
And the sister behind me made the comment, those people, that's why we are in predicament we in. They keep coming over to our country and taking our jobs and stuff. I don't agree with the president, but he's right about that. All of us standing there, nobody said anything. So then she decides she wants to get us to engage in her conversation
Sure.
in order to try to agree with her. So she said, don't you agree? I didn't say that. And she said, don't you agree? I looked at her and said, no. I said, because that's the problem now. We're blaming everybody else but ourselves.
Okay.
The predicament that we are in is caused by us, not by nobody else.
That's right.
It's a diverse country.
Yeah.
We need to learn to have unity and love and work together. Then the thought to myself, probably all in my head right
Yeah,
now.
that's good. Because she
But-
had But look, she's a seeker after truth for real.
Exactly. And then she got a little upset because I didn't agree with her, so she tried
Yes.
to turn to the sister behind her.
Yes.
And the sister said, I agree with that lady.
Yes. Look, sis,
Yeah.
didn't the prophet tell you this? He said, what is in truth? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is the verse where it says, he is not offended at it? When it forces itself upon him, he is not offended at it. When what forces itself upon him?
Truth.
Truth. You're going to have these incidents that's going to occur. And that's your time, that's your opportunity that you are being given to sprout from your mouth the truth. But you got to understand, like you did, why sentences are uttered what? You could not just indulge her and that truth be out of season, because then you would have got an argument.
And that was the next thing, because it was like using us to pick on this woman in front of me.
Right. But the prophet used you to set the record straight.
Exactly.
See, it may not, and that lesson may not have been for her, but it could have been for the lady behind her.
And those surrounding.
That's
us
right.
listening.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's good that you see that. But many of you will be used in that manner. See, the only problem that we have a tendency to think sometimes we need to pick and choose when we do it. It's not always meant for us to do it. It says, speak in what? And hear what? So you must be speaking in sincerity so you can hear. And if you're speaking in sincerity, you know that wise sentences are uttered in what? So you know that you're just not there just to run your mouth. You're not there to show off. You're not there, oh, here's an opportunity for me to talk about the prophet. It may not be your time to talk about the prophet. See, just because you think you should talk about the prophet, it does not mean it is the time for you to talk about the prophet. You've got to know the difference. You've got to know when it's not you and it's the prophet. You got to know when you are inspired to speak. Not just speaking because you know something that somebody else don't know and I want to tell them because I know. No, that's vanity.
Yeah.
So if you're speaking from out of vanity, your words are empty. And you will not get the desired result that you think you are going to get when you decided to venture out into the area of trying to tell somebody something that you really didn't have the authority to say. When authority is given to you to speak, you will know it. You got to be given the authority to speak. You don't take the authority upon yourself just because you have been exposed to certain things. That's why when you go to apply for your, they always talk about to go to apply for their driver's license, people don't want to put their Bell Eagle on there. They all of a sudden, they want to educate people. But you're educating, or you're attempting to educate the very people that's putting up opposition to stop you from telling you that you are who you are. Do you actually think they're going to listen to you then? It does not matter how much you think you know. That's not the time to talk about that. The silence of thy resignation shall reward you if you know when to keep your mouth shut. This is not a religion where you learn, then you go out and boast. We don't do that. This is not a religion where you wait for opportunities to get in a position so you can express what you have learned based on what someone else have learned by telling them what they have learned ain't right. That's not what we do. And if you're doing that, you're in error. And you're not benefiting the movement. What you learn how to do in here is to speak at the appropriate time. Because you never want to be responsible for contributing to a condition that is confusing. Because then you contribute to the misunderstanding of what the movement is dedicated to.
That's right.
No one knows who to believe if two people up there arguing. They're not listening to the argument. They just see two people arguing. Let's go to chapter 39. Why do we go in this book? I'm just curious. Why do we go in here? For instructions, okay. What kind of instructions are we trying to do? Divine. Why do we need divine instruction? Why do we need divine? Why can't I just get some instructions? I mean, why do they have to be divine? That's right, put us on the right track. That's right. Why else do they need to be divine?
Teach us how to think.
There's no question. Why else? Yeah, they come from Allah, yes. And why else? Show us the right way, no question. Why else? To guide us back, no question. Come on, sis.
Salvation.
Because the clearest human knowledge is with the mind is the Father.
That's good. I'm not telling you that's good just because you want money. That's good. But one of the but as a contribution, what I was thinking of trying to pull from you is because divine instructions do not change. Meaning that you can always rely on them. All you have to do is to have the courage to implement them. Then what you receive from them will always be the same, which will afford you the confidence in knowing that he's right. Your whole behavior will change because the responses that you get will be more accommodating to you, which enables you to see that they work. Once you acknowledge that they work and you accept them, you're more apt to be reliant upon them in the ways of life. Everything you do, you can see how to implement this. And what happens? Your life is enhanced. You see an enhancement in your life. Your life changes. You take on a certain glow. The conversations are different, which enables you to think about high things.
That's right, Mom.
You're now thinking about high things. Do you know when you start to think about high things, you see better from height? And you can see the platters, the purveyors, the worst that exists, who think they're on the same road with the true Lord. But you can see them for what they are. Then you understand when it says, pity the absurdity. Hear with patience the impertinence. It did not tell you to hate them. It did not tell you to dislike them. It told you to pity them and hear them. This ain't about no judgment. This is about making an assessment so that you know how to govern yourself in the midst of those who may not understand yet, but they think they do. This keeps you out of the realm of disliking people, because dislike is just another word for hate.
That's right.
And we are to be learning to love instead of to hate. Okay, chapter 39. Holy instruction from the prophet, pinnacle of wisdom. I think. Thank you. As the eye of the morning to the lark, as the shade of the evening to the owl, as honey to the bee, or as the carcass to the vulture, even such is life unto the heart of man. What does that mean? Life. No, this part. I want to ask y'all about that part. What does this part mean? Life unto the heart of man. What is the relationship between life and heart?
Necessity.
What you hold in your heart.
Yes.
Intelligence.
And what do you say? Intelligence. Intelligence.
Sure.
I just want to hear where you're at, you know. I'm not saying that I just want to hear where you at. See, one thing about this is this, and I want you all to understand this. No one is really smarter than anybody else.
Praise the Lord.
We just discuss it from the point of view that we see it.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So no one is smarter than anybody else. So when I ask you a question, it's not to measure where you are along the way. It's just to let me hear what you got to say.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. That's right.
Come on, Mom.
His prophet talks about the nearest place we can meet Allah.
That's good. I like that. That's
But
good.
That's not the only place, and not so much as the physical heart, but the center of our being.
Okay. I like that. And if we're meeting Allah there, you know Allah is life himself.
That's it.
Islam.
Okay. Okay. I can hear that.
The essence of our being.
I can hear that. I can hear that. I can hear that. Come on, sis.
Also, I be thinking, on my medical term, the heart beats life,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the life is given to, the glory of the heart.
Yes.
It's being life, and life shining into the heart, glory of us,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
Yes.
We just shine.
Okay. Okay.
Islam.
Okay. Come on, Mom.
Life is a gift.
It is a gift.
Yeah. That's what I get from that. It's a gift.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Queen Hill. Brother Queen Hill.
Well, I'm fine.
Come on, Mom.
It's enlightening the mind, uplifting.
Life uplifts the mind.
Uplifting, giving us a high level to think on.
Okay. That's
Islam.
nice. I can hear that. It's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
I think that also the prophet is instructing us here is that he's drawing a comparison,
Okay.
to show how, these let me go back to the top. He's giving a comparison to show. Excuse me, I'm talking for me. Okay, he's giving a comparison as the eye of the morning to the lot,
Okay.
as the shade of the eagle to the owl,
Okay.
and as honey to the bee,
Okay.
or as carcass is to the vulture.
Okay.
Even such is life to the heart of man.
Okay.
And then he's giving that comparison, and he's showing you how these particular entities, they got to survive on this. You see what I'm saying? That this is their survival, you see. And he compares that to such as life, that's why I say spirit life, to the heart of man.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And let me say one other thing. In the heart, that's not the physical heart. The physical heart ain't pumping nothing but blood. Tell me the very essence, like the brother said, the core man.
Well, we already know anything physical is a reflection.
It's not. Right.
So when we talk about the heart, yeah.
For the brothers that,
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
yeah.
Because that gave me a chance to say this.
If you like, you're going to the heart, like it's the physical heart, that's signs and symbols for
Yeah.
consummated men, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if one nobody can misunderstand.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Who? Oh, my dear. Yes, my dear. Sister McGee, the songstress. For real. Oh, she's gifted. You know that, right? I'm proud of her.
Yes, indeed.
I was gonna say, when I was reading it, and he was talking about desire, that's what popped up to me, because a bee desires honey, and so I chooses to make it.
That's right.
And vultures,
Yeah, they do.
so yeah, I got desire from it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Come on, Fizz, baby. Come on, Fizz, baby.
I see it as according to how all the levels of creatures, how they give their praise to Allah for giving according to their nature of how they will at their time of what they're doing, like when they hunting or something like that, their time to go hunt.
Okay.
Whatever until they, they will.
Okay.
Allah giving praise to Allah for giving them that.
Okay. 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 Come on, Mo. Wait, I got you next, Prophet Hill. Come on, brother.
I see that all these creatures, like the eye to the morning to the law, all these is good things to them.
Okay.
Even though,
Okay.
like we look at the vulture is bad, so the heart of man is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I get it all. Come on, man. Come on, Prophet Hill.
I was just thinking of life being existence.
Okay.
You know, how will I exist without life?
Spirit.
Okay. But I would say there is no existence without life.
Right.
But there are things that provide you with the opportunity to exist. Know that, right?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, folks. It's like water.
Like,
Yeah.
it's for the existence of what?
Body.
Yes,
Body.
yes. Just like that carcass is to that vulture.
That's right. Needed to survive.
Needed to survive. That's right.
Can I
Yes.
ask you a question? When, it's saying such as life
Is.
unto the heart of man.
Yes.
Could it be also saying, I think it's similar to what Brother Queen was saying, Allah is the nourishment to man, the heart of
I can
man,
hear it.
which
I can
is
hear it.
nourishing a part of Allah that's within man?
I can hear that.
Praise the Lord.
See, the key is to see the association. Can you associate with the examples that are given? Because if you can't associate it, that means you're not getting what's being given in the verb. I mean, in the instruction.
Yes, Lord. Praise the Lord.
You think about what you read and just get. It's not how much you get out of it. It's what you get out of it. Because what you get helps you to build on what else will come your way
Yes,
pertaining to this particular instruction.
So more. So you saying if we just get a basic,
Yes,
very
Mo.
basic
Yes.
understanding, we're on our way.
Yes.
We got something to build on.
Yeah, because look, when I get you to think,
Save
you
yourself.
save yourself.
Yes, Lord.
You
Praise
save yourself with the instructions.
Lord.
You know, that's why you never equate a person's advanced state based on what they give the appearance of knowing.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
You see, everyone knows in the allotment that is his based on where he is in his developmental stage.
Yes, Lord. That's right.
And if it's divine, if these are divine instructions, we are re-educating or reawakening the spirit that dwells within us.
Yes, Lord. Praise the Lord.
This is its nourishment
Praise the Lord.
as we attempt to return back to the state of our ancient forefathers. We got to learn to eat again. And what nature meant, what nature meant pure sweets, a source of bitterness.
Source of goodness.
Yes.
It made me think about what the Quran says about, every living thing is bound by
Yes.
every other
That's
living
good.
thing.
Good.
And Allah speaks to man by the voice of man.
That's right.
So that is one of the reasons why it's so important for us to worship
Yes.
and to study in congregation
Yes.
and not just alone.
Yes.
Because we help one another. We give one another another perspective to see something
That's right.
and helps us, communicate to the ignorant, communicate to the wise.
Yes.
We all benefit.
That's right.
We can't lose. It's a win-win situation.
That's right.
And often, we talk to ourselves.
Yes.
But sometimes, if we're only listening to ourselves, we can get a distorted view.
Sure.
Because we need some feedback at some point.
Yes.
To see if, am I even on the right track? Am I
Yes.
thinking correctly or am
Yes.
I way off in left field something?
Yes.
And we can't do that alone.
The discussion in congregation aids the binding process. Remember, we are to remember the relationshrelationship that does what? We must learn to communicate with one another about the things that are unseen. Meaning we need to be able to be comfortable enough to express ourselves from what is within, not necessarily from what is without. Because you can get caught up in talking about what you think you have seen and be entering into the realms of hatred, slander, all types of unwholesome conversations. This helps us to enhance the binding process. This helps us to start to understand the meaning of our feet being in our Father's house. Yes, my dear.
Yeah, I'm finding out dealing with me, I have to be careful what I tell others to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Because what I would do when it's played back and they do it,
Yes.
it's not a good idea for them.
Praise
to
the
do.
Lord for that. That's good.
So I'm trying to learn how to not really tell them totally how I feel
Yeah.
about the situation.
Yeah. But knowing that that's what you need to do.
Yeah, I'm working.
Yeah. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Though bright, it dazzleth not. Though obscure, it displeaseth not. Though sweet, it cloyeth not. Though corrupt, it forbiddeth not. Yet who is he that knoweth its true value? Learn to esteem as thou art. Then art thou near the pinnacle of wisdom. Think not with the fool that nothing is more valuable. Nor believe with the pretended wise. Now we find out that there are those in the category of being the pretended wise. And I'm sure we all have had an experience of being in the company of pretended wise men or women. But the key is to be able to recognize the one from the other. Why a wise man knows what? Tell me something a wise man knows. His own imperfection. What else does a wise man know?
That he knows not everything.
That's good. What else does a wise man know? That's right, that's right. And that wise sentences are uttered. Meaning, a wise person does not talk all the time. He's not always trying to impress somebody that he knows something about everything. Now we can start to see what it means to be a pretended wise person and a wise person. It takes time for you to make that discernment, because you know those words that are made in the semblance of truth sound like they could be right.
Praise the Lord.
They send people to the university to learn how to be to give a explanation from certain theories that they are posing to the population. Meaning, you got to know how to talk. Now, how do I know as to whether or not that's a wise person talking, or if that's just a person who have been trained to jump through the hoop, and the longer they stayed in the college or schools, the more vivid they defend their jumping. If I can't tell the difference, I'll go with what they say, which may not be correct at all. So what Prophet Noble Drew is getting us to do is again to think. Think. Come on. Yes, give us the tools. That's right. That's right.
And all, like you say, like you always say, we practice that.
Yep. That's right.
We're going to wind up with the truth.
That's right. It says, gold cannot buy it for thee, neither mines of diamonds purchase back the moment thou hast now lost it. Employ the succeeding ones in virtue. What are we talking about? Life. Life. They're succeeding ones, meaning if something succeeds, it comes right behind the other. What? Moments in your life. Come on. Yes.
You missed the end of verse 2. I mean, verse 4.
Love it not.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to verse 4. Love it not thyself, but for the good it may be what? To others. Meaning your life is of value to who? Others. because people learn from you. People watch you. Don't you know people watch you that you don't even know watching you? People watch you all the time. And don't you know you have some consistent watchers? They make it their business to be in a position where they can get a glimpse of you every day. On a lower scale, it's called stalking.
Some people get paid for it.
But there's no question.
Some people get paid for it.
But they watch you because there's something about you that attracts them. Your movements are different. The air about you is different. It's something about you, and I just can't figure it out. Let me go stand behind this tree tomorrow and wait till you walk by. Because I'm trying to figure it out. Let me give you a case in point. I walked into a store the other day, and I have a tendency to frequent the store from time to time. But it was a sister in there, an older sister. She said, "Can I say something to you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "I watch you." I said, "You do?" She said, "Yes, I watch you, and I noticed that you are polite and you're humble." And I said, "Wow." I said to myself, that's a blessing to know somebody extracts that from what my behavior pattern is. Because I do try to hide certain things when I'm in public. And this means I'm a little successful. But she said that to me. She said, and I've been watching you, and I just want you to always do it. Because, you know, our people. She came in. Yes, ma'am, I know you. She said, our people, they just don't know how to talk to people.
That's right.
And I said, wow, man, that is heavy. You know, it's really, but I'm saying that not to say or to put me on blast. I'm saying that to qualify what I'm saying. People watch you that you don't even know watching you. And they are looking for consistency.
That's right.
They need it. Because you know what you give when you show consistency? You give hope. Yes. Yes, my brother.
Islam, and that's why it's important to always do what's right when no one is even watching.
That's right.
No one's around.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. Hey, babe, look, that is a part of your consistent practice. Because believe me, if you only do it when someone is watching, someone will be watching when you fail to do it.
Right.
We're acting as leaders too, and not knowing we're acting as leaders.
That's right. Well, you are the guidance of a nation. Don't you know people are going to look at the guidance of the nation?
Yeah.
Why? What makes you a guide? Your practice. And that light that comes from you by being consistent as your energy starts to surface based on the high thoughts that you are now being introduced to, that you are being able to take into your heart and let it start to cause your growth and development in a spiritual way. They can see it. They're in the dark. Don't you know they see when they get a little glimpse of light? They see it. I saw Brother Mullen.
Islam, you know, I'm a watcher, you know.
Yeah.
That's the point. Nobody stalking. But,
Yeah.
but because sometimes the verbal
It does. That's
communication
right.
not there.
That's right.
So if I see you,
That's right.
I'm gonna take note of that.
That's right.
Because it might be something about you. I may not know you, and I may know you.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
but I'm always looking for a pattern.
Right.
You know,
Right.
especially if I don't know the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
Eventually we'll get to talk, or we'll get to communicate. But I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I have to, because sometimes I just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, even watching, you don't always know.
That's right.
Because you don't always, but you see things. Remember when he tells you what you fail to see in yourself, others discover in your plan? Well, it's something that you give out that is unbeknownst to you. And you don't see it because you're not outside looking at you.
That's right.
It's coming from within you outside.
That's right.
And that's a form of ignorance.
what the, no, not that particular is not necessarily a form of ignorance. The form of ignorance is only that you may not know that's what you're doing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't even know that you're showing. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I was thinking, that's why it's so important that we watch ourselves.
Yeah.
And we say, watch yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we have to watch ourselves.
Yeah.
Because other people are watching us.
Yeah.
You know, prophets let us know about studying ourselves,
Yes.
know ourselves.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And when we practice studying ourselves and knowing ourselves,
Yes.
watching ourselves
Yes.
closely,
Yes.
we know when we get out of line.
Yes.
And we don't want to do that because
Yeah.
others are watching us.
More. Look, once you say that you are a Moorish American, people think different. What is it? What are you talking about? Now, what follows that is your behavior. Now you give them a description of what your perception of being a Moorish American is. And they surmise based on what you do, the action that proceeds from you. Oh, that's what they are, huh? Based on what proceeds from you. Then we have those individuals who like to advertise. They get T-shirts. They wear T-shirts, I'm a Moorish American. They had the prophet's picture on T-shirts. They advertise the movement. Then they, on the corner, arguing. Using all kind of profanity. Acting all kind of ways. So all of a sudden, whatever is seen by those who are seeking truth, that's depicting what we say we're about, you turning people off. Then you don't know that you're scattering the flock.
That's right.
And woe unto him who scatters my flock, whether you know it or not. Come on.
Islam, and also the prophet informed us that he has detectives.
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, sir.
So, what could I ask you?
Yeah.
So, because I had on a teacher.
Right.
And, I've been around for a minute, so I know that, reflection is the business of fashion.
Right.
And I would wear that t-shirt because I want the brothers to know that it's a race of people out here, that's moving in accord with Allah's will.
Right.
Nation of people.
Right.
And for so long, it's been like going on my 51 year.
Right.
And it's moving. And I know it's a lot of people that when you say more signs, or even more, they be like,
Right.
what?
Right.
So I just figure like, wear that t-shirt, try to
Hey, Mo,
bring
Mo.
people attention to that.
Right. But Mo, look, that's not what I'm saying. Let me make myself more clear. I'm saying the behavior that's associated with wearing the t-shirt.
Okay.
Okay. What are you projecting? Now, if you're projecting what we're about, praise Allah, you got one. I'll buy you one myself. But if the display in your behavior does not compliment the t-shirt, take it off.
That's right,
Or don't wear it until you can support it.
I see what you're saying. Don't be in the street out there selling drugs and
Yeah, Mo, that's what I'm saying, Mo. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thank you for the healthy discussion. Peace.
Peace. Thank you. Praise Allah.
Islam, Moss. I'd like to thank our Grand Chief of the Moderator of the Moorish Science of Michael of John Bay for Sunday school. Thank you all for your participation. It's say thank you for a healthy discussion. Now I'd like to call the Assistant Grand Governor of Washington, D.C., Brother T.K. Deere, to read the warning. Can we cease all movement and give him your undivided attention?
First, I give praises to Allah, the great God of the universe, and I give honor to the holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Joe Ali, and I give honor to each and every one of y'all. Prophet warns all Muslims, governors, ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequences. We are for love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card, but cease wearing their turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Joe Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sins by order of prophet Noble Joe Ali. Peace.
Peace.